Continental Tire Coach's Corner, the Dodgers manager, Dave Roberts, joins us. Skip, how are you today?
Dan, I'm better this morning than I was yesterday morning.
Well, a victory will do that for you. But if you were going to try to sum up what's happened so far, how would you sum it up?
I would say shockingly surprising, inconsistent. That's probably it.
But you guys have outscored the opposition. You're the only team that with a losing record that's outscored the opposition. So has it just come down to pitching, the injuries?
You know what? And we haven't used that at all because I think that every team has certain injuries, Dan, and you know that, and we know that. And I believe in the guys that we have healthy. I really do. But I just think that, you look at those numbers and how we've kind of the run differential thing, and it just doesn't make sense. But the bottom line is, whatever the run differential, the players you got to find ways to win baseball games. And a lot of the guys that we have now were part of that team last year that went to the World Series. So I think it'll even itself out, correct itself, and getting JT back certainly is a big lift. And there's a lot of season left. Definitely a sense of urgency, but I expect us to turn things around.
How did you react when you heard that you got a vote of confidence from management?
No, you know what? It's always good to have support. I think the one thing, though, Dan, is we have to stick together. All of us, players, coaches, staff, management, ownership, and I believe in the process. Obviously, they believe in what we're doing here on the field, and it's a good thing. Yeah.
Clayton Kershaw's status?
Threw out to 120 feet yesterday, and Dan, yesterday before the game, he was letting it rip. So we're talking about trying to get him off the mound here at some point soon. I know that's sort of vague, but he's pain-free right now, and now we're just trying to let the progress kind of just take care of itself. But it's very promising to get him back soon.
You got a lot of season left, but do you feel like what are the expectation level? What is it now as opposed to what it was when the season started?
I don't think that's changed, and to be quite honest, you look at our division, which I think is a very talented division, but the way we've played for the first month and a half, I think that you look at the standings, we could be a lot worse off, to be quite honest. And so you look at where we're at, and I just don't see how that's not attainable to still win this division.
How do you stay upbeat and try to convince everybody don't panic?
I think the thing is that it's just easier for all of us, Dan, to focus on each day. And as frustrating as the season has been for all of us, each day to focus on one major league game. And for me, that's easy. And to kind of try to forecast and get ahead of it, that really can't control. You can't control it. So I think for me, by nature, I'm positive, and the players are playing their asses off. I mean, they're playing their tails off. They are. And they're preparing. So for me, as a manager, the coaches, we come in fresh every day, and that's pretty easy, actually.
Win yesterday over the Marlins. You got the Nationals coming up tonight, weather permitting. Dave Roberts, Dodgers manager. Do you look at the weather? Is that first thing you look at when you're on the road? When you hear about the weather in D.C., that's something that you got to kind of stay in tune with, because potentially you got to talk pitching and how you can manipulate that. You got to potentially talk about a doubleheader, how that kind of changes, and using your pen. I used JT, which I was going to probably try to sit him yesterday, but anticipating we might have an off day today with the rain, I played him yesterday, and fortunately we did. Yeah.
And I kind of look at that a little bit. Yeah.
Who does Bryce Harper remind you of in maybe a previous generation?
You know what? This is loose, obviously, but I'm just saying it's kind of the Barry Bonds thing. Obviously, I'm not comparing the two, but it's the question you asked me in the sense that there's a big drop-off in player with everyone around him. And no disrespect to the other guys, but this guy with one swing can really hurt you, and he seems like he's always coming up in big spots. So that guy, he's just more talented than everyone, around him, and Barry was the same way. So kind of in that sense, probably Barry, I guess.
If you raced all the current managers, first to third, how would you do?
Okay.
Who would
right.
challenge you here, Dave?
All right. I think that who would challenge me? I think
Alex Cora?
Gabe Kapler. No, I think I got Alex. I got Alex.
Okay. So Kapler's in good
shape.
shape.
That too. Kapler, I think could get me. I would say the younger, fleet of foot, probably Andy Green could get me. Outside of that, I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna place. I'm gonna go third.
Who would finish last?
Who would finish last? Boch, for sure. Boch would finish last. Right. Boch would finish last. I think Schnitker can get Boch.
Could you
Boch certainly last?
Could you lap Sosha?
First to third, could I lap him? I could certainly lap Boch. I might be able to lap Soch. Yeah, I like these questions.
Can you beat? How many of your players could you beat just going home to first?
I could beat Yasmani Grandal.
I could beat him.
Right, you could beat him.
Okay.
I can't beat Kemp, but Kemp's in too good shape now. So I'm going to go maybe. I'd like to race Kenley Jansen and see what we got there. But
could you beat Kershaw? Could you beat Kershaw?
No, absolutely not.
Oh,
no way, no chance.
Really?
Yeah, no chance. Not anymore. Maybe a couple years ago, but now I took a dip the last couple of years, Dan.
Kenley is 6'5", 275.
Yeah, former catcher. I got to be able to beat him. I can beat him.
How do we bring Steele back?
You know what? That's a good question. I think part of it is you're talking about the players that are playing in the big leagues. The profile now of player is a different player that's drafted and playing. It's more of that guy that's slugging and that Juan Pierre type player, Rafael Furcal. Those guys are just not around as much anymore. That's one part of it. But I obviously like that dynamic of Flair.
Yeah, I just think the game, there's no movement in the game anymore. It's either a strikeout or a home run. And when we were growing up, you had the extra base. You did move a guy over. I think this is the one downside. The biggest downside I have with baseball is there's just not any movement.
Yeah, and I agree, Dan. And I think that there's a deeper issue with that. And you look at I'm on the competition committee for Major League Baseball and the pipeline committee, which is diversity in baseball. And if you look at the numbers, also, this is a deeper issue with African American players in baseball and guys that can really run. We're having less African American players in the game, and we're working on that. But it's a different type of profile of player. And I like the action. I like the kind of the cat and mouse, with the guy that can steal a base. And, another thought is the inside move at second base. If you can eliminate the inside move, which we're talking about potentially, it's as the rule states, it's deceiving the runner at second base. So that might incentivize guys to steal more and quicken up at second base, which would take away some of the stuff from the pitcher from delivery standpoint to then get more runners, balls in play, things like that. So we're, as a group, as an industry, really trying to talk about some things.
Buster Olney of ESPN said, within 5 years, we're going to have a digital strike zone. What do you think?
I think that's fair.
You'd be okay with that?
I would. And I think that, obviously having the umpire behind home plate is important and is a necessity. But to have with technology, when this game was invented and created, we didn't have the technology we do. So as life and the world evolves, I think that this game is evolving, and that's probably the next step, certainly.
How's the winery doing? How's the winery business?
Winery, Red Stitch,
Yeah.
Dan is doing good. We're moving wine. I'm not drinking as much wine these days, but
you should be.
I'm a Pinot guy. I should. No, I'm going harder.
You're going
alcohol.
Straight whiskey here.
I'm going to bourbon. Yeah, exactly. No, man, our winery's doing great. Rich Aureli, Rich, is a partner of mine, and he's doing a great job selling the wine. So it's great. Thank you for asking.
Are you a wine snob, though, Dave?
I am a wine snob.
Oh, no.
I am, Dan. I'm a wine snob, and you know what? But I think I'm very particular, and I think that it's not about what's good and what's not good. It's about what you like, and I'm particular with what I like, and I'm particular with watches. I'm particular with who I hang out with. So, but in the sense of the word, the definition, I'm a wine snob.
Okay. Are you one of those guys that, do you look at it? Do you swirl it around? Do you talk about the tannins?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yes. Is that a bad thing?
Well, if we're at dinner,
okay,
are you going to be doing that?
Okay, listen, here's the deal, Dan.
Okay.
Yes, we are, but we're going to be talking about sports. We're going to be talking about family. We're going to be talking about travel, and it's going to be a 3-hour sitting, and that's a good thing. So, and we're going to go through a few bottles of wine, and, and it'll be okay, Dan. We're going to get through this.
Okay.
We're going to do it. Let's make this happen.
Yeah, but, if I go out with Bochy, we're just having a pitcher of beer.
Yeah, you're right. And Bochy's going to chug wine, and you're going to graduate to some harder stuff. You're right. But the thing is, you'll remember my night. Boch might not.
I would love to tap into that, though, with somebody who knows wine when you go and then they run down the menu. But you can't do that, like smelling it and then putting it in your mouth and then like swishing it around and then tell me about the legs.
I won't do that. I'll spare you. I'll spare you.
You don't have a bucket there to the side, like you don't spit it into a bucket or anything like that, right?
No. I don't have I just my stomach is my dump bucket.
All right. Have fun on your night off. It looks like rain in the forecast. That might be a good thing with Strauss. All right. Who do you got?
We got Scherzer. Yeah.
Oh
Scherzer.
God, you need the night off with that, right? Start drinking now, though. I think, Skip, if you got Max Scherzer. Hey, thanks for joining us, Dave. We appreciate your time.
All right, Dad. Take it easy.
That's Dave Roberts, Dodgers manager. He's been great every time we've been on. Has some fun, but he's got a winery with Rich Aureli. It's called Red Stitch. Continental Tire Coach's Corner brings you Dave Roberts. Continental Tire, the extreme contact sport, is Continental Tire's newest ultra-high performance summer tire. Tested to the limits by 5 championship drivers. Check it out. They've thought of everything. Wet conditions, dry. They're doing it on a racetrack, whether it's a Sunday drive or the open road or you are on a racetrack. It's the tire for what you do. Visit ContinentalTire.com for more details.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.